So thank you very much for that lovely introduction, although I forgot to message you with details, but that's okay. I'm going to share my screen and jump straight in. Okay, please let me know if you can see the screen. Just a thumbs up. Yep. Okay. All right. So this is basically the kitchen. I literally am in the kitchen, but also this is the kitchen of my presentation. So I'm taking you back here for a second, just to walk you through it, and then we'll move on. I am so happy for presenting now and having listened to everyone before me because, well, selfishly, because it makes my job a lot easier. Everyone before me presented such lovely activities and great tools, and it's easier for me now just to pinpoint how I use different things as well, and walk you through some things that hopefully never change about teaching. And even if we are thrown into this new context, maybe we still have some values to hang on to, and that will help us as well as all this new technology and all these tools and activities and new kind of interaction. Okay, so we're going to talk about reestablishing a learning community, first of all, because there is that disconnect that happens. We've all experienced it in March and now again. So it pays to spend some time to reconnect with our students when we switch between environments. Okay, then we're going to take a look at how to motivate, what can we do to motivate students who are a bit more difficult or not always present, a bit alienated. It happens from the lack of socializing and the lack of physical face-to-face interaction. And finally, yes, like Dana said, how to motivate ourselves to keep going. Okay, so let me see if I can reach the presentation. Okay, and maybe even go full screen. Okay. All right, so once a teacher, always a teacher. This is what I'm hoping to convey. Okay. And this is me. I've been teaching for about 16 years now, anything from English for young learners to business English for adults and English for special purposes. So basically anything from a toddler to a Secretary of State. And hopefully, and I've always loved to use technology in my classes. So this made it easier for me when we transitioned. But nevertheless, teaching online does seem like teaching on a roller coaster sometimes. Hands up if anyone feels like that. You know, paper is useless, there's restricted movement, you know, you can't really do much. And there's always someone screaming and you don't really know if they're having fun or they're in trouble. Okay. But hopefully, with some teaching values in place and our classroom reestablished, we can all actually enjoy the ride. Okay. So essentially, to reestablish a learning community, and I'm taking this from someone who wrote a book a decade ago, but a book that is still quite useful today. J.R.E. Brophy, in his book Motivating Students to Learn, says we should follow these three pillars to building a successful learner community. And that is, first of all, make yourself and your classroom attractive to students. Everyone here, I'm sure, is a lovely teacher, and you are used to having lovely classrooms, which you all miss right now. I'm sure you do, and your students do as well. So how do we do that online? And how do we focus or refocus students' attention on individual goals and collaborative learning goals and help them achieve them? And finally, teach things that are worth learning and in ways that help students appreciate that value. Okay, so remaking the classroom attractive to students. This is about the classroom. If you haven't done that already, but I'm sure you have, but take a little bit of time to think about the space that your students come to school from, because it is important. And if they are with their videos turned off and sleeping in bed, then it's not that helpful. So work with them, spend some time doing activities in class that involve asking them about their working environment, about their little corner of the room where they have their desk and laptop or a tablet or whatever they come in from PC, and what else they need, you know. Tell them, look, it'd be great if you could bring your books on that desk before we start class. So just organizing that learning environment and help them do it. Maybe get the parents involved if you can, but in a nice way, obviously, you know, just, I don't know. Or have students post pictures of their working space and have them come in on time and show each other, hey, look, this is where I study from, this is my classroom. Second of all, netiquette. The etiquette of behaving online, because it is different from what we have in school and in class. And sometimes students don't know, or they do know, but they will take advantage of, you know, turning on the mic and saying all sorts of silly things, or I don't know, drawing, you know, with annotations, all sorts of things that you do not want drawn on the board, and so on. So provide clear guidelines for your students if your institution hasn't done so already, and those rules for joining and taking part in online classes. Set expectations rather than simply expect them to know or to follow something that you want them to. And finally, decorate the classroom, which of course we don't have anymore, but we do have a space, even if it is online. Use collaborative apps to design projects, make class websites or blogs, use shared backgrounds. They love this. My form students, they designed this with their music teacher. They designed this lovely Christmas background at Christmas, and with like a tree and ornaments, and their music teacher gave it to me. So what I did was I put it as my background before they came to my class, and they had such a kick out of it. You know, I decorated the classroom with their work. And it works. It gets them excited and it gets them engaged. Okay, and moving on to the teacher, which is you or us. Here are some things to help you regain some of that control of the working environment. Predictability. If we don't know what we're doing, okay, but we're learning, and for sure they are less aware than we are. So we need to set some routines and practices and be consistent, because knowing what to expect makes them feel comfortable and relaxed and more inclined to take part in all sorts of activities. Respect their power. They have a lot of it online, and they probably know more than you do when it comes to apps and games and engaging online. We should definitely respect that and tap into that, and kind of get them on our side. So when you do make those class rules, even for online classes, elicit and accept their input and explain why you need this and that from them, and remind them of the importance and the benefits of doing this or that. The mute all versus the walkie-talkie approach. So mute all, obviously, very quiet, everyone's muted, you can do that, you have the power, but how many of them will turn off their video and go to sleep? Whereas with the walkie-talkie approach, which takes more time for them to learn how to manage those those microphones, when to turn it off, when to turn it on, ask questions, raise hands, and so on. It takes more time, but it gives them the power and it makes them more responsible for their own behavior in class. Immediacy is another thing that will help you deal with even with behavior problems before they arise. Like, be very authentic and very on point in your reactions towards them. So try to look at them, try to read the room even if it's behind the screen, and oh, sorry, there was like an echo and I didn't know what was going on. Okay, sorry, I got distracted. I was like, okay. So be immediate in your reaction and bring the I'm not sure what happened there, but I'm back, right? Yes?
Yes, you are.
Yes, okay, thank you. Okay, of course, we need to be a bit larger than life online, so bigger smiles, lean in closer when you want to listen to a student pronounce something. Try to convey sort of eye contact. It's not eye contact, but if you like look straight at the camera, it kind of looks like that. And a lot of positive gestures, like, you know, mime a hug or a heart. It helps a lot. And of course, the verbal immediacy we all have at our disposal: humor, self-disclosure, our language, and use their first names. I know it's not completely popular in state schools especially, but it does help. Okay. And let me just check my time for a second. Okay. All right. I'm going to move on from this to a few activities that I wanted to share with you. This is the last kind of theoretical part. Less has never been more. I don't know if it's true or not, but it feels like this is where we're at, where we need to really consider what context we teach, what content we teach, sorry, how relevant it is, because we have no more time. We have 40-minute classes with a lot of disruptions, and they really need to be taught something valuable that they can use and that they understand the value of. And like Magda before me was saying, activities that support students in using HOTS, or higher order thinking skills. So fill in the blanks is so last year. Let's try to get them really, use their critical thinking and problem solving skills. Okay, and here is an activity that I'm sure a lot of teachers love using in a regular class, which is Jigsaw Reading, or the same type of activity you can use for writing. When you get students to write in groups, one group writes the beginning of a story, and then another one writes the middle, and then the end, and then you mix them up so they can create their stories. And you can do it obviously with texts, separate the texts into paragraphs, and then group students according to each paragraph, answer questions about that paragraph, and then regroup them into a home group so they can solve the whole text. And it's a lovely activity. It gets students going, interested, talking to one another. How do you do it online? Using breakout rooms, which I'm sure you have done. But if you've been afraid of doing it, just go for it. It works great. They get really, really excited. So you put them in breakout rooms in expert groups. So according to each paragraph, let's say, of a text, and then you remake the breakout rooms. So you have a home group that can answer all the questions in the text. And then obviously you get them back together for a quick feedback, and maybe give out rewards if you choose to do that in your classes. Okay. All right, I'm just going to skip through. Be flexible, yes. but I'm not going to insist. I'm just going to show you some activities that can go either higher and get more difficult, or they can be made to be a bit easier. And we're going to start with some kinesthetic activities because students love them, and Alina presented some of them really lovely. And I'm going to just tell you about a couple that I did. This one was one of the last ones. I'm sorry I can't show you a video, but it wouldn't be fair to my students. So it's a Christmas relay. So just ask students to find a bauble, a stocking, and a tablespoon. You can do it with any kind of toys. It doesn't need to be Christmas related, obviously. But the idea is that they have to put the stocking at the far end of the room from when they're from, and then have to run with the bauble on the spoon, put it in the stocking, come back, and call out their colleague's name in the activity. I can maybe even show you what that looks like, what the actual activity looks like. Let me see if I can find it. Maybe not. Not really. Okay. Then I can just go back. Okay. A live escape room. I did this with my students in an attic. So I was teaching from an attic at some point, and there were a lot of things like there are in attics. And I hid clues everywhere, and they had to tell me, okay, go there, move left, move right, lift that, look in that box, pull that drawer, and so on. And they found all the clues, and they finally let me escape from the room. It was great fun. They all got very, very excited. And another kinesthetic activity, random DJ dance party. If you have a student whose birthday you want to celebrate maybe, or some reason to have a party, get one of those wheel of names or wheel decide or any wheel apps, and enter on each line, just enter songs from students. And each student can give you their favorite song. You put it in there, as long as it doesn't have obscenities or something in the lyrics. And then you spin the wheel, and whatever song comes up, everyone has to take a step back from the camera so you can see them and dance. And get in there yourself. It's great fun, I promise. So that's another one. And because Alina was talking about scavenger hunts, I think I have something about that here as well. After you ask them to bring stuff from around the house, and they have great fun running around the house and bringing stuff back, you can introduce another round where they have to build something with all of those things in the list. And then they have to make a short video presenting what they have there, and explain to their classmates in the video what they built and why they built it. So you get a bit more language use out of that kind of activity. Okay. All right, dealing with difficult students, a heartbreaker, but it happens. And you know what it is, those ones that you don't like, those are the ones that need you the most, and they need to see the love. So I am going to talk about PEP, which is something, again, from like over a decade ago, 2 decades ago, there you go, Alan Mendler, motivating students who don't care. We have them now after 20 years, they're still here, they always will be. So things you can do, reconnect on a personal level. It's even easier somehow to get the parents involved, to get them involved in a meeting, over Zoom, one-to-one, or even with the school counselor if you have one. But reconnect to them, show them that you care, that you want to see what's going on in their lives. When you correct their behavior, do it privately. Even put them in a breakout room if they need to be put in a breakout room for 2 minutes with you and chat with them for a minute, or write a text, positive as you can, in the text box privately to them, instead of saying something out loud in the middle of the class. Eye contact, again, just try to look at the camera. as much as it's possible. Ask them to turn on video so you can see their face, and remind them that you like seeing their little faces, even if they give you trouble. And proximity, which is very difficult, the most difficult one, but you can still show some gestures that get you close. And by asking what their feelings are and what they need, you might get them to open up. I actually had a student who broke down crying and said that she was being bullied, and it was really such a emotional moment, and she needed a lot of help. And actually her behavior improved so much afterwards, even if we were behind the screen. So it pays off to deal with them rather than let them turn off their video and go to sleep and lose them. Okay. All right, socializing students in general, or even uninterested or alienated students. Give them what they want. They want to play. You know, we know this, and they want to play video games. Give them that. Just get in there as well with some language. That's the best you can do. So gamify to motivate high. Escape room games. This one I think I can actually show you. This app is called Genially. I've been using it this year, and it has, let me see, here it is. So it does have, this is a template. I haven't made this. I just put in the content. And we have a book club at school, and the kids were reading a detective book. And I made this escape room because they like escaping things. And as I said, it's just a template, but it has a very nice wow factor. And I just put in the details. And as you can see, it gets everyone engaged. All of my students did it. Even the cool ones that don't want to do anything, they were like, "Ooh, I want to press that button. Let's see, let's do this." And they had missions that were related to things that they read in the book. So who are the characters in the first chapter? And you have them here, and they had to add the missing pieces, the title, and so on. Oh, good, I got it right. Okay, so you get the point. And escape rooms, I've said. Board games. I've been using board games for a long time, and usually to add the wow factor to just boring exercises, like you have to do revision exercises, let's say before a test, and you have to do them because you want them to do well in the test. But it's boring to just keep filling in the blanks. So whenever they got an answer right, I would let them play a game. I can't remember where I learned this game, but I didn't make it. It's not mine. I learned it a long time ago from someone else. And it used to be called Gun, Bombs, and Nurses. Sorry about the violence, but they love it. And I added angels and AK-47s, which they're like, yes. And if they got questions right in their revision exercises, they were allowed to choose a square, let's say 3A, and bam, oh, a nurse, excellent. And then go to their armies, and nurses give soldiers back to them, and AK-47s take soldiers away from them, and so on. This, by the way, is Active Inspire. It's an interactive board software that I've been using for some years now, and it has helped me a lot in class and in the physical class, but also online, of course. So just introduce board games of any kind. The app I showed you earlier offers more possibilities for that as well. This was another reading, book reading, and they had this, I made this for them in Genially. Again, it's a template. I didn't really have to do anything but put in the content. And every square has questions about what they were reading, and if they got it right, they... to the new one. Okay, it has a built-in die, so you can get them to roll the dice and play the game. And if they made it to the end, you know, you can make it a bit funnier. There you go, GIF or a GIF, however you call it. It's funny. They get a kick out of it, and it's this particular one helped me really well with demotivated lower level class. Like the entire class, some of them actually finished the book while we were playing this game. It was a short book, granted, but they did it, and I was really proud of them. Okay, I only have a couple of minutes left, so let me go back to the main one. I was already saying something about making tests fun, or, you know, they're having a hard time. They're on the other side of the screen, they're home, they don't want to take tests anymore. But if you make the revision fun, and then you give them a bonus lesson afterwards, where again they can... And then, like Mihai showed you, you can do a lot of things with putting tests in Google Forms, and you can use different themes, and you can put pictures and the videos and stuff. So they have a lot of, not a lot of fun, but at least it's better than a regular test on paper. Okay. And let me see if I have anything else to show you in the last minute. Ah, yes, what about us? Do for yourself what you would do for your students. Set realistic goals, don't spread yourself too thin, and embrace the opportunities and move with the times. I'm sure people who invented the, you know, the Egyptians with the papyrus, they would have been shocked at us using paper. So, you know, but we got to get with the times and move on and embrace the opportunities and not look for excuses not to use them, because that just makes us feel bad. And treat yourself like you would treat your students. I'm sure you treat them very nicely. Show yourself the same kindness and courtesy and patience. And for sure you will feel happy to be the lead in, whoops, someone drew on the board. Okay, in the classroom. All right, so I think this is all for me. I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. And if anyone, I don't know, Dana, do we have any time for questions, or?
You have time for a few questions.
Okay, all right. So if anyone would like to ask any questions in the chat box, I'll happily try to answer. Thank you very much for listening. And let me also give, or Dana, will you give the, okay, all right. So Dana will provide all the presentations, including mine. Okay, so you have everything there. Yes.